Good morning everyone and welcome to my channel Bhhavya. So Mars transit in the sign of Leo, where we already have Ketu present. So what will happen? What will be the game changer? What positive is in store? Because you've heard about a lot of negative about this transit with Mars and Ketu creating a very dangerous yoga and very troublesome for most of us. So I said, let me do something by which the Mars and Ketu transit in the sign of Leo will prove to be benefic as well for some of us. So before we move on, I would like to tell you something which is very, very important. But before we start, for all those who are new and haven't seen me earlier, do subscribe to the channel and keep watching all videos. For consultations, we do have a link below in the description. Get in touch with us so that I can look into your charts and tell you where you have your Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, Ketu, Venus aligned, and what exactly these planets are going to give you. So not diverting, we would go to our topic today, which is Mars and Ketu in the sign of Leo. Now what exactly is Leo and what is this conjunction? You might have seen in a number of videos. Some of them might have scared you, but I am here to give you some kind of relief so that you understand how to calculate this entire conjunction and what it has in store for you. Now, when you're talking about the sign of Leo, you might be knowing Leo already is a very energetic sign, okay? Wherein you have the energy of the sun, because that's the zodiac, which is governed by the planet sun. Now here we have planets such as Ketu already entered. So it's somewhere around 28 degrees in the nakshatra of Uttara Falguni, which again is the nakshatra of the sun. And now Mars has entered Magha. Magha is the nakshatra which dominates a certain part of the Leo zodiac. So first and foremost, the most important thing which you need to understand is, unless you have two planets at a conjunction or else a very close degree proximity to each other, then is when you will see it giving negative impacts. The most important thing to understand any kind of a conjunction or else when two planets get together or close to each other. Okay. So we have Mars, something which has just entered today in the morning, which is at 0 degrees, and we have Ketu, which is 28 degrees. So now this conjunction would last for a decent amount of days, at somewhere around 51 to 52 days, okay? Now I wouldn't say that this transit is going to be difficult or else troublesome for each and everyone, because doing such a thing wouldn't be right on my part. So I will make it very, very clear. Before jumping into any conclusion, you need to understand what exactly your Mars or else your Ketu is giving. For some, this conjunction could be beautiful, wherein Mars or Ketu is going ahead and activating your house of gains or else maybe the 9th house. So for everyone, if you say that the conjunction of Mars and Ketu in the sign of Leo, I've seen n number of videos and I've seen n number of people just giving it a very, very negative aspect. Please understand there are conjunctions coming up. There may be Rahu and Mars getting together. You may have Sun and Rahu coming together. You may have Sun and Saturn. But is it that everyone faces that kind of challenges? Everyone goes through the negative side of that planet, or else there definitely is going to be something very, very difficult. We are not here to scare you. We are here to make you understand that whenever you have any such conjunction coming, first of all, you need to understand what is stored on your chart. Like for example, when we are talking about Mars and when we are talking about Ketu coming together, you could say initially for the first month, there wouldn't be that kind of chaos, that kind of, a volatile situation or else a very vulnerable situation which you've been hearing about. You wouldn't see it in the initial stages because there is a very huge difference in the degrees. Until unless they come in that proximity when Mars enters the nakshatra of Uttara Falguni, then is when you will see some kind of disturbance coming up, but again not for all. Now why am I saying it? The reason being what? First you need to understand the planet Mars and planet Ketu. To understand that, you would need to know what exactly is your astrological chart. What is your ascendant? Because until and unless you know your ascendant, until and unless you know what are the houses that specific planet is, signifying, you will not be able to understand what is stored for you, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it is normal. So for those who do not understand what is a Lagna, where exactly a transit is going to take place, whether it is this transit or any other transit which is going to happen, whether it's a Jupiter transit, whether it is a Saturn transit in the sign of Pisces, or else a Jupiter transit in the sign of Gemini, if you are not aware of anything, do not jump to a conclusion that this Mars and Ketu transit or any other transit is going to be difficult for you. First and foremost, you require to know your chart. For the ones who do not know anything about the chart, what is their ascendant, what is their moon sign, what is the 11th house, 6th house, how to activate, how to deactivate, do get in touch with us. Once you watch the video, the complete video, and watch the entire video, understand the video, try to relate it to your issues, the ongoing issues, the present month issues, the month of June till the end of July. Understand the pattern of your life, and somewhere where it is matching, there is where I will also give you a remedy in the end. In the end, I will be giving you a remedy which will just move this transition of Mars and Ketu together in your life. I would separate it for you. For that, you need to watch the video till the end, and for a consultation, you can get into the description below. There's a link there for our consultations so that I can guide you. Now coming back to Mars and Ketu, first understand whatever is your planet which you are signifying, whatever is the planet you're talking about, you need to understand what are the houses those planets are signifying. Anywhere if Mars or Ketu in your planet significations activate the 11th house of Gales, and if this transit is happening through your 11th house, it definitely will give you some kind of gains coming in a huge way. So I'll run you through each and every zodiac in short, because you've heard a lot about it, I guess, in the past 1 week. You might have got a lot of information. I have made notes on this specifically because there's a lot to say. So I tend to miss on certain things. So to help me out, I did make notes. Now talking about Aries, you're having this conjunction or else this transition of Mars and Ketu in your 5th house. Now 5th house is your house of love, romance, kids, speculation. So a person having a Mars which is activating the 12th house, I'll make it very clear. If somebody has their Mars which is activating the 12th house or the 8th house on the chart, which are considered to be Dushtana Bhavas, and they ought to bring some of, sort of problems in life, and somewhere your 5th house is connected. Say your Mars is giving you a 1-5-12 combination, or else a 1-5-8-12, or else a 2-5-8-12, and somehow now this Mars is transiting on the, you could say, 5th house of your chart. So what will happen? You will see some kind of disturbances in that. Say you are into a very beautiful relationship, there could be some kind of chaos, some kind of ups and downs, but yes, it does matter if you are running a dasha, antar dasha of that Mars. If you are not, if you're not running through that dasha of Mars or the antar dasha of Mars or Ketu anywhere, Say your Mars and Ketu are giving you beautiful results on the chart, then why are you scared when your Mars and Ketu are actually going through that house which is promising what you want? Say you need kids and your Mars is going through your 5th house, and yes, it is a karaka for you to have kids. It is activating the 5th house with the 11th house of gains. Ketu also somehow is playing an important role. Then this transit will be beautiful for you. So whenever you're talking about any kind of a conjunction or as a transit which is happening, you need to understand that where exactly is this transit taking place, whether that specific planet which is transiting is connected somehow with your 11th house of gains, or is it connected with your 12th house of losses or 8th house of trouble or sudden events. Once you know that, you will understand whether you should get scared with the transit or not. Yes, there will be a little bit of chaos, there will be a little bit of, impulsive decisions which you will be taking in every aspect. Like talk about the Taurus ascendant, this conjunction is happening in the 2nd house. Now when you are talking about the 2nd house, for Taurus ascendant, this conjunction is taking place in the 4th house. Now when you're talking about 4th house would be all issues related to the mother, some kind of disturbance, some kind of imbalance in the relationship, in the communication, then property related issues and major changes in the sleep pattern. Because 4th house is where we consider to be the house of your mental peace. That is the place where you rest. That's why it's the 4th house and it's related to the mother also. So there will be some kind of disturbance in this, so try not to make any impulsive decisions again. Now talking about the 3rd house, the 3rd house, if this conjunction is happening for Gemini, so it's happening, Gemini ascendant is happening in the 3rd house. 3rd house is the house for short distance travel. Say I am in Mumbai and I need to make a trip somewhere in Mumbai itself, maybe to Bandra or maybe to Andheri. So what exactly will happen? There will be some kind of a disturbance seen. Even my communication, my self-effort, my speech, my siblings, there could be some kind of a discord which is created in all this. But this is only when the Mars, which is present on my chart, is going to give me results of the 12th house or the 8th house. Or else the transit will be a very normal one if your Mars is giving you good house, activating good houses, or else your Ketu is activating good houses. Okay. Now moving on to Cancer ascendant. For Cancer, this transit will take place in your 2nd house of finances. So be very careful when you speak to others. Whatever you speak, you need to weigh your words before uttering them out. Okay. It's also connected with your family, so try to maintain peace, try not to get into verbal tiffs or else arguments with your family members. It is also, the place on the chart from where we see what kind of food you have. The 2nd house is a nurturing house for the 1st house. So take care of your food habits and try not to go out of the way so that you may not face any kind of health issues. But again over here, when you see Mars is placed in a good dignity and a good position on the chart, and Mars is actually activating the 11th house of gains or else all good houses, then you don't require to be scared. But yes, you will feel a little bit of strain, a little bit of difficulty. That's for all of us. If Mars is activating the 8th house or the 12th house when during this transit and is giving bad results of 8 and 12 combination on your astrological chart. You can check that out in the planetary significations. You would come to know which planet is activating what. It will show as Sun is activating 1, 3, 5, 11, Moon is 2, 3, 4, 9. That's the way it shows. Now coming to Leo. Leo, this is a time for transformation. A lot of inner conflict, because when you're talking about Mars, Mars is the ruler of, you could say, your 9th house, your Bhhavya. Now, here is where Mars is with Ketu. So, somewhere in July, you could see that transformation coming into you. Or else there will be a lot of you could say, small tips and bits of, you could say, health issues coming in tips and bits, and there'll be worry. Then you have a feeling of detachment with yourself and even with your circle. You may land up having a wrong, people may land up having a wrong notion about you. You may create a little negative image. However, if your Mars is activating, again I'll come back to this, if your Mars is activating your 11th house, that means you will not be going through that kind of pressure, which, the stars are indicating, because your Mars is a benefit for you on your chart. Now, coming to Virgo, you need to be careful of, there are two ascendants which need to be careful. First is Virgo and the second is Capricorn. You need to be careful talking about Virgo. This transit is going to be difficult for you if your Mars, if you're running on a Mars Dasha, Antardasha, Pratyantar, or else your Mars is activating your 12th house with the 8th house, or your Ketu is activating your 12th and the 8th house in the form of signifying those houses in the planetary results. So here what is seen? Hidden enemies causing trouble, causing a lot of issues for you all. Take care of your health, drive slow. Be careful in your investments, do not make hasty and impulsive decisions. Be careful about whatever you're doing, because here this transit for you is taking place in the 12th house. So Ketu itself is isolation. So yes, if you're talking about a very good spiritual retreat or else a spiritual upliftment or else transformation, yes, this is a beautiful time wherein you can go ahead with whatever kind of spiritual stuff you have in your head, and here you want to explore that. Talking about Libra, beautiful transit, because it's going to happen in your 11th house of gains. So if Mars or Ketu somehow are related to the 11th house of gains, somewhere you will see that big boom coming. But yes, if Mars and Ketu aren't indicating good results, then you may see some kind of a setback. But yes, you need to vary all the ascendants. You need to understand what is the Lord of that house or that zodiac going to give you. Leo, Sun. Where is Sun right now? Sun is in Rohini Nakshatra. That's in Taurus. So if you have your Sun giving good results on your chart, say it's activating 111, 3511, 3611, and your Mars and Ketu is also giving you those beautiful combinations, then you do not need to fear this transit. But yes, if your Sun itself is activating the 12th house of losses, then you need to be a little careful. Talking about Scorpion, for Scorpion, this is going to happen in the 9th house. 9th house. For Scorpion, I'm sorry, it is not the 9th house. For Scorpion, it would be the 10th house. Avoid conflicts in your workplace. With your bosses, with your mentors. Avoid any kind of conflict. Try not to make impulsive decisions in the work front. Think twice before making a decision and keep calm for some time. Now, talking about Sagittarius, this would take place in the 9th house. This entire transit would take place in the 9th house. Now, when you're talking about the 9th house, your gurus, your bosses, higher learning and travel. When you're talking about travel, that is long distance travel. Like say if I'm in Mumbai and I'm going to Hyderabad or Bangalore, it's a long distance travel. So try and avoid those long distance travels. There could be some kind of disruption which could take place. Also, you could have issues with your teachers, again your mentors, your gurus. Apart from that, you need to be very, very careful about your travel, as I already said. Be careful with your travel. With your higher learning, there could be some kind of an interruption in studies, or else a little bit of discord with whom you're, working on. Now, talking about Capricorn, another ascendant which is a little difficult for this transit. The transit for Capricorn ascendants would happen in the 8th house. Now the 8th house is known for sudden. So you need to be very careful while you're driving, when you're commuting. You need to be very, very careful about your health, about whatever you're doing. You need to take care of yourself, especially if Mars is activating anywhere the 1-8-12 axis, the 2-8-12 axis. With this transit is something which is a little alarming for you. Get into meditation, cling on to the spiritual path, explore a little, give a little isolation to yourself, explore a little. At times serenity is something which is required. So calm down and be a little careful about your health. Moving on to Aquarius, this is going to happen in the 7th house on your chart. 7th house is your house for partnership. It's for your spouse, it's for your partner, it's for the other person. So be careful with your communication. Hold on to your words. Do not just utter something which could spoil the thing. Stop. Do not get into much of arguments. Do not get into a new partnership at this time. If it's marriage, there may be a lot of arguments, a lot of delay, difficulty which is seen in marriage at this specific time. But yes, if your Mars is activating again your 11th house and Ketu is activating your 11th house again, then you don't need to be scared of it. Talking about Pisces, you are going to have this transit in your 6th house. Now, 6th house is for the house of litigation, for your hidden enemies, health. Take care of your health. Avoid litigations. If there is something, try to postpone it. Do not do it. But yes, if again the planet is activating the 11th house, so yes, this is a time wherein you can nail it. Now, I've spoken about all the houses and somewhat what you can, expect in terms of this transit for Mars and Ketu in the sign of Leo. So, firstly, you need to understand don't need to scare yourself for the fact that Mars and Ketu are here to destroy things for you. Yes, you can go back in the past where you saw, all these things coming up, wherein on the economic front, on the political front, wherein there were hasty decisions taken, wherein you go way back and you see a lot of incidents. I do not want to talk about it because there's so much been spoken about. It's just floating all over. So you can just go through those videos and get that info. But for me, here I am to tell you not to fear this. Because here is how you can treat this. Especially for Virgo ascendants and Capricorn ascendants. Here is how you are going to, fight this out. Now say if the dasha you're running, if you're running on a dasha of Mars or else, Ketu, and actually your Mars and Ketu are activating whatever houses with the 8th house and the 12th house. And this transit is here to give you those, those negative results and trouble you. So what do you actually do? For both Virgo and for Capricorn ascendants, here is my remedy for you. Now the sign of Leo is a place where there is dominance, where there is authority, the power. So all government offices, it could be any government office. It could be a place where you have your shooting going on, like, the places where you have, like in Mumbai we have Film City. All the places which are known for authority, as in you would avoid going to these places for any kind of paperwork. And you will see there will be a lot of expenses, there will be a lot of documentation work come up, because the sign of Leo is what? Government. Where there is government, there is a document. It could be your Aadhaar, your PAN, your passport, your birth certificate. There will be something which will come up because of which you have to go. Why? Because the planet is here to give you losses for these two ascendants. What you need to do? avoid going to this specific place which will activate your 12th house or your 8th house. Why? Until and unless the planet comes in the form of a person. Say if it is Saturn, it will come in the form of a servant. If it is Moon, it will come in the form of your mother. If it is Sun, it will come in the form of what? A government authority. So here I am, and I'm come to take away something from you. So you're very smart, you don't go to that specific zone and activate that. Until and unless you do that, nothing is going to create a problem for you. But yes, if you are adamant and you say, yes, I would go and finish all my paperwork, everything related to the government. Because see, the sign of Leo to be activated, you have to go to a government building, whether it's the DRM's office, whether it is, your local, what do you call that, the political local party's office, the party office which we say. So this is how you can go ahead and you can save yourself from that specific Mars which is transiting your 12th house of losses. You go there and you can see it. You will see the losses coming to you. Or the 8th house of sudden. You may go there for some work and you will end up with your vehicle banging up with something. This is not to scare you, but that is true. So I've given you a remedy, another very important thing. The 5 number on the chart, the 5 number on your chart is represented by which zone? If you talk about the zone, which zone is the 5 number? That is the ENE region. The ENE region is something which you need to see doesn't have the conjunction of Mars and Ketu together placed over there during this specific time. So if you have anything red, if you have any weapons, if you have flags along with that port, there are flags over there, there are blankets kept. What is Mars? Mars is copper, Mars is red color, Mars is any kind of a weapon, Mars is honey. Mars is a storage of that, you can say the masoor dal, the red dal which you consume, that red cloth, red color. So check in that zone of ENE, the east of the northeastern zone. Check that zone and see that you do not have Mars present in that if it is giving you a 12. And secondly, check if there is no Ketu. See that you have not gone ahead and done storage of blankets, bed sheets. And also see if there is no flag over there. These are all the things which represent Mars and Ketu. Until and unless you get them together in your house, until and unless you visit that specific place, that 5 number zodiac place which I have told you, all government authority offices, whether it's the Provident Fund office, whether it's your local tax office, this will be all governed by number 5. So for Virgo and for Capricorn, you need to be a little careful. Follow these rules. Now, another very important thing which you can do is activate the 12th from the 5th zodiac. The 12th from the 5th zodiac comes a Cancer zodiac. Now the Cancer zodiac which is coming, that will be in the 12th house from your present transit. So every day or every 2 to 3 days or once in the week, just do one small remedy. Go and visit the orphanage or any place where they take care of people. Nobody is asking you to go and shell out money, no. You can just take some biscuits, take something small, or else at least go with goodwill. Spend some time there, exhaust your energy there and come back. And this will deactivate the 12th house which is going to give you problems. This is for the Virgo ascendants. Because the Cancer sign comes in the 11th house, and if you activate the 11th house and do the activity of the 11th house, that's going to old age homes, orphanages, then automatically your 12th house is suppressed. So do this regularly. It's not important just for this transit, but it will help you a lot in this transit as well. The same for Capricorn ascendants. For me, my prime focus is the Capricorn ascendant and the Virgo ascendant. For the fact the transit is taking place in the 8th house and the 12th house, so they are the ones who need to take more precaution. They are the ones who need to understand their chart more than anybody else. And yes, if Capricorn ascendants as well as Virgo ascendants, somewhere Mars or Virgo or Mars or else Ketu are activating your 11th house along with other houses, then you don't need to worry. Whatever is your dasha, whatever is your antardasha, as I always told each and everyone whenever I'm making videos, do not scare a transit, do not scare a planet until and unless you know the dasha running, the antardasha, the pratyantar dasha, they are signifying the 8th and 12th house. So whenever that planet which is signifying the 8th house and the 12th house comes in play, then is when you see a little bit of difficulty. Now how much that difficulty is, it purely depends upon your chart. And if you don't know how to analyze your chart, how to understand what I've just explained you are free to get onto the website for all the information in regards to crystals, and for consultation you can click on the link below in the description. Do like, do subscribe, and yes, as you know, we are manufacturers of these beautiful crystals. Like, you've got all the possible crystals, somewhere around 70 plus crystals in different forms, whether it's tumbles, whether it's chips, free forms, cut forms, pencils, pyramids. We're into bulk manufacturing. You can always get onto www.bhhavya.com, offer a consultation, drop me a mail, visit my website, and stay tuned and keep watching. Stay blessed throughout this entire transit of Mars and Ketu. For all those who are having a difficult time with this conjunction, say Mars and Ketu are really difficult, just follow the 2 remedies which I have told you. Visit an orphanage and avoid going to places which are connected with the government. Thank you so much for watching. See you again. Goodbye.